All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Sort of middle of the day morning, I guess, or at least for me, it's 11, but I just had a really nice Zoom, which I'm going to have all week with one of my coaches, which is a lot of fun. I'm sitting in the dark with a light behind me. Maybe this a little easier to at least see that I have a face. It's not just a random voice booming from everywhere. So I don't know if all of you guys were on Dr. Dane's 14 days of, I don't know, it's kind of like the rescue remedy for all the fear and all the trauma and drama and all of that from the coronavirus. So he had created 14 days of possibilities, videos, tools, amazingness. And personally, I have really appreciated it. It was a lifesaver for me. I can't minimize, but I can switch screens. Cool. I've enjoyed it so much. And one of the things that he spoke about in yesterday's video, by the way, I think it's still available to be purchased. If you didn't purchase it yet, it's available, and it is not only well worth every penny of the $1 a day, 14 days, so $14. There are lifetimes of lessons and invitations in there. Not to mention, if you're part of that program, he also gifts a 50% discount on a bunch of programs that he's created, the You've Got This app, which I had most of them before the 50% discount, but I did add a couple yesterday. I was so happy to explore some new ones as well, and they're absolutely brilliant. Anyway, one of the things that he had mentioned is that there are so many resources that are available. There are resources on YouTube. There are resources of, rather inexpensive books from Access Consciousness, where you can begin to change your life by looking at things from a different perspective. As a friend of mine said, you can look through, rose-colored glasses, or you can look through shit-covered glasses, but it is what you are looking through that creates your experience of the world. It's, as Dr. Dane calls it, our point of view that creates our reality. Now, this version of the book that I'm holding, well, it seems like the internet has been doing really interesting things. So at least it came back to us. I hope that you can see me and still hear me on there. But anyway, what I was saying is that this is the very old version of the book. The new version of the book looks prettier. It's got, it's a nice graphic. Anyway, if one of you guys has it and would like to hold it up, that's great. If not, then you just trust me, this is what it used to look like back in the ages of the dinosaurs. And back in the ages where I resisted this book for years, until I got that if I was actually willing to make a choice and actually willing to go through this book, the way I function in the world is going to change. So it's kind of an uncomfortable book. It's a book, let me put it this way. I made a video a long time ago, I think it was 2016 or 2017, which I'd shared in our group. It's an unlisted video at this time. But it has me reading the book out loud, and I had read it out loud for my mother because I had gifted her the book a couple of years before, and even though she reads and understands English perfectly fine, she could not grasp it. I'm a little stubborn. Not only did I read her the book on video and she did not listen to it, but I even got her a copy of the book in Hebrew, which technically is a more comfortable language for her, but no. It was such a change from looking at the world happening to her versus looking at the world that she happens to. And that's what the invitation of this book is. It was such a different way of functioning in the world that was a little challenging for her, you could say. It was very challenging for her. She just didn't know how to deal with it, how to be with that. And so she refused to go through the book. And actually, when we did begin going through the book together a little bit in Hebrew, we took quite a long time going through a very small section because everything was about challenging the points of view. So my invitation to you is to let go of everything that you've ever believed about you, everything that you've ever believed about money, anything that you've ever believed about how things are supposed to work in your life, how things are supposed to look in your life, and just be, hands open, willing to receive. One of the things that Dane spoke about in the 14 days, which I love, and again, highly, highly recommended, somewhere under this, I'll post a link to that in case you were lost in the twilight zone and didn't see any of the many, many postings about the 14 days with Dane. But one of the things he spoke about was resistance. Whenever we hold on to a point of view very, very strongly, whenever we hold on to a definition of something very, very strongly, whenever we say that, defend the rightness of our point of view, which brings me to Anne Maxwell's clearings of the right and wrong. They're wonderful. There's 3 of them now. They're all together in the one. You buy the link for one and you get all 3 of them. They're awesome. I'll put a link for that as well beneath so that you can have it and enjoy it. But what was really cool was that the majority of our life is spent resisting anything that doesn't fit in with our points of view, anything that doesn't meet the, it's rose-colored or it's shit-colored, depending on our point of view. And it's not only those 2, but it's, 2 very distinct spectrums, like black or white. And so if it doesn't fit the one or doesn't fit the other, it's almost not allowed in. Well, what if we just take off the glasses? And even if everything looks a little fuzzy for a while, that fuzziness, that willingness will allow us to change anything and everything, if you're willing. Now, this is a workbook. It is a transcript from a class that took place in 1996. So it is in the form of a conversation between Gary, channeling a being named Raz, or Rasputin, but commonly known as Raz, channeling Raz and communicating with the different students that respond to him in the class. We've read chapter 1. If there's anyone on here that hasn't read it, the video is living in the Space of Possibilities Facebook group. And we went through the questions at the very beginning. So that's the invitation to begin every time we begin a reading. I'd like us to go through the questions. I'd like us to, if you're interested, because if you'd really like to change your money reality, it isn't all the clearing about it as much as it is in the being aware of it. Because when you're willing to be aware and when you're willing to be present with whatever's coming up, naturally, just by being aware of it and not judging it, just by looking at it with curiosity, it begins to shift and change even without you having to clear everything in the universe. And if you enjoy clearing, which I personally do, you can puck and pod, which is the short form of right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. You can find out more at theclearingstatement.com. Though if you're here, most likely you already know it. And you can use the clearing statement for anything. Something stops you in your tracks, that's a beyond. Okay, cool. Everything that is, whatever that is, and everything that it brings up in my world, I'm willing to destroy and uncreate. So when you go through and you answer these questions, you can look at them. The whole point is to answer the questions as truthfully as possible. There is no right answer. There's no correct answer. There is no wrong answer. It's merely pointing you in the direction of where you are and what that's creating in your life, based on the point of view that you are functioning from at the moment. And that point of view is constantly changing. That's why the more frequently you respond to these questions and just look at them even, Yeah, you can spend hours pocking and potting them, but even just being aware of them, like, turns on the light of consciousness, and you can see, oh goodness, this is where I've been functioning from. Cool. Now what else can I choose? And that awareness changes everything, right? And will affect everything in how you choose to be and function in your life. Now, these questions are going to sound a little strange because they're related specifically to money, or is that just the pretense? And there's a lot more to that than just money. But we're going to start with the word money in there. So tonight, we're going to talk about how to be money. I'm reading the workbook questions. And get a paper, a pencil, a phone. I have it in like a note on my phone. Do it in whatever way that works for you. Let me actually find my note. How to become money workbook questions. I already set them up and wrote them in a note for myself, so it makes it easier for answering. What we're dealing with is not the answer that is considered light, but it should, oh, sorry. Okay, cool. Tonight we're going to talk about how to be money. That which you are is energy. That which you will be is energy. And that which you have been is energy. That which is money is energy. And as you this night answer the questions that we are going to ask, be in awareness that the honesty of your answers relates not to the people around you, but to self. So no cheating over, somebody's shoulder, which you can't do when you're in quarantine. Kind of funny. But this is all related to you. Be honest with you, because you're the one who's limiting you in any way, shape, or form. And when you recognize what's going on in your world, you can change it. Every point of view that you've created about money creates the limitations and parameters from which you receive it. Everything that you create, others create. So be in total honesty with self. Otherwise, you are the only one you are fooling. Everybody else will know your secrets anyway. We ask you to remember that the subject we're now dealing with is not one that's considered light, but it should be. Light is funny, it is a joke, and you can laugh. It is all right. So be prepared to be the enlightened beings that you are. If you truly desire results in this, it would be best if you answered all of these questions in this section before moving on to the next chapter. So we're just going to quickly go through the questions. And we're going to need 3 responses for each one. So first question, what is money? Write down 3 responses that you have. What is money? And this is to you. Okay, next question. What does money mean to you? I'm going to go a little quickly so we can get into the reading, but you're always welcome to watch the replay, pause the video, and take more time with it later on. What does money mean to you? Money's not mean to you. I'm just joking. What does money mean to you? And it's always different. What 3 emotions do you have when you think of money? 3. What 3 emotions do you have when you think of money? Got that? First ones, no need to overcognitize it, right? What does money feel like to you? Now, what does money look like to you? Again, 3 answers, please. What does money taste like to you? Taste. 3 again. Now, this is going to be a one answer question. When you see money coming towards you, so from which direction do you feel it coming? Okay, from which direction do you feel it coming? Well, this one is an easy one too. It's technically just one response. In relationship to money, do you feel you have more than you need or less than you need? More than you need or less than you need? Next question, question 9. That one was a really easy one. I'm sure you responded like that. In relationship to money, when you close your eyes, what color is it and how many dimensions does it have? Okay, got it? And in relationship to money, what is easier, inflow or outflow? That's also one response thing. This one may take you a couple of seconds. What are your 3 worst problems with money? What are your 3 worst problems with money? Got it? Okay. Now, which do you have more of? Money or debt? Okay. Now, in relationship to money, this is our 13th and last question. In relationship to money, to have an abundance of money in your life, what 3 things would be a solution to your current financial situation? Now look over all of those. Okay, did you answer them honestly? Did they come from the truth of what's going on in your world? Or were you trying to get a correct answer? Okay, I'm not actually checking them. I'm not going to ask you to share them out loud, but I'm asking you to be aware of what you've written down, to look at what you've written down, not with judgment of yourself for what's there, because it continuously changes. Maybe for tomorrow, I'll bring my pages of, we used to meet at Starbucks and write down on paper the responses. And I have like a thick collection of papers with my responses to these questions, and they change every single time. And it's really cool to be able to see the difference from the beginning of answering them and to see how it transforms and changes. And you can almost see the changes in what one is willing to be and to receive in the world based on the points of view that you're letting go of. And it does not take hours of pocking and potting what's on that paper or what's, in my case, in the phone. I just look at it and go, whoa, okay, wow, that's curious. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. That's really interesting that I've been functioning from there. Is that working for me? Or what else could I choose? Okay. A lot of times they're not our points of view. And remember, as a kid, you're surrounded by lots of adults who have only one point of view about money or like a whole lot of points of view about money. And if you go to a store with these adults and you ask for a candy or you ask for a toy or you ask for something that you like, were they always so happy to say, sure, honey, let's get this for you? Or did they ask a question like, would it be a contribution to get this for you? Or did they automatically say, nope, we can't afford it. Nope, you can't have it. Who do you think you are asking for all this stuff? So a lot of where we function with and as money, and not only money, but with other things in life, comes from what we've seen, what we've learned, what we've picked up on around us. And a lot of it is other people's points of view, other people's lives. That's what works for them. It may not be what works for us. Just hi. Hi, how are you? Let me just click that. So I'm kind of trying to keep an eye on both, whoops, hello. There we go. Both the Facebook Live, if there's anything, can I put the Zoom here again? It says invalid link. It's, let me see. It's actually not an invalid link because I got in through it, but let me see. I wonder what it is saying there. Okay, so the join Zoom meeting and the password. It has a password, and I did it as 1234, so it'll be really super easy for us to remember how to get in. Let me go back to where we were. Hey, kiddo. I need my arm. Thank you. Let's see. I hope it is still streaming. It is still streaming. Good. So let me see about posting. Okay, so in the comments here, I'm putting in the actual Zoom ID code, and yeah, there you have it. Hopefully you can hop on if you'd like. Thank you for sitting down. That makes my life easier. And we're going to begin reading with chapter 2. Okay. Oops. I'm going to check the chat. Hi. Está bien. Ah, good. I'm glad. So it was probably when the, gracias, Angela. It was probably when, exit full screen. Okay, it was probably when you had copied or shared the link that it didn't necessarily copy all the information. But I've put it on, by the way, if anybody would like to share all the days this week except Wednesday, when Dane has the global ESC for us, and we have a Maestro meeting as well, and I've got other meetings in the morning, and it's Passover Eve. So Wednesday, I will most likely not be reading with you guys unless we have an impromptu. But every other day this week and the beginning of next week, we'll be reading the book. Same links, same connections, same everything. If there's someone that you'd like to invite on my personal page, as well as on the Joy of Being page, you can share the link from there. It's that golden circle with how much peace and ease would you like to have with money. And they're welcome to join. If they'd like to get the book, it's even better, then they can read along with that. And if someone prefers in Spanish, I had done a really in-depth cool readings in Spanish last year, and those are available on YouTube. I had put a link beneath. I put a link somewhere. I think it was on my personal page there for anyone who would like to explore it in Spanish. They're certainly welcome to, because it's a really cool book. So we're going to dive into chapter 2. What does money mean to you? Okay, and again, remember, lower your barriers, let go of your points of view so that we can begin to receive something different. What does money mean to you? Raz. Read the second question, please. and the answers. Good, it does let me do that. Cool. Student, what does money mean to you? Raz, well, what is your first answer? Student, security. Raz, security. How is money security? Student, well, if you have it, you're securing your present and your future. Raz, interesting point of view. Is it true? Is it real? If you have your money in the bank and it goes belly up, are you secure? Or even related to these times of coronavirus, you could be a multimillionaire on your own private island or in a yacht somewhere else. And yes, you may be isolated, but if there's any way that you happen to have gotten some sort of, contagion, whatever, and you happen to catch whatever it is, no amount of money in the world is going to prevent you from, or have you change whatever it is that you choose. Your body may choose something entirely different, but having money or not having money does not make you immune to life or living. So that's kind of interesting. If you have your money in the bank and it goes belly up, are you secure? If you have your money in a house and it burns down on the day that you forgot to make the insurance payment, do you have security? Student, no. Raz, there's only one security that you have, and it is not money that creates it. The security is in the truth of you as a being, as a soul, as one of light. Now, this is very archaic speak, both because it's Raz and it's being channeled, and also that is what people could hear in 1996. What he's saying is that you're an infinite being. And when you are honoring the truth of you as an infinite being, not as a pathetic pile of shit, not as the effect of the world, but as the truth of who you be. And I'm going to say it again because it cannot be repeated often enough. The truth of you is the energy, the space, and the consciousness that you are. I love how my friend Sharona told me in Hebrew, Emet, energia, merchav, and toda'ah. That's the word truth. Emet is truth in Hebrew. Energy, energia, merchav, space, toda'ah, consciousness. So the truth of you is not being a pathetic pile of shit. The truth of you is recognizing you as a being, as a soul, as one of light, as the infinite being that you truly be. And from there you create. You are power. You are power as energy. As power, as energy, you have the only true security there is. I'm going to pause for 1 second, and I'm going to just invite, if anybody is on the Zoom or has any questions or would like to stop me at any point. I'm also trying to look at the Facebook Live comments. If there's any question or anything comes up, let me know. I'll stop and we'll look at it, okay? The security is in the truth of you as a being, as a soul, as one of light. And from there you create. You are power as energy. As power, as energy, you have the only true security that there is. If you lived in California, you would know there is no security because under your feet, everything moves. But here on the East Coast, you consider the ground to be secure. But it is not. That which you call the world is not a solid place. It is but energy. Are these walls solid? Even your scientists say no, that the molecules move only more slowly. That is why they appear to be solid. Are you solid? Secure? No, you are a space between a bunch of molecules that you have created and formed to the apparency of solidity. Is that a security? If you could be secure with money, could you take it with you when you die? Could you manage to get a new body and come back and get it next lifetime? So is it really security that you buy with money? Does it really mean security? Or is that only a point of view that you've taken on? that you've bought from another as to how you create your life. So whose lies, what lies, how many lies have you been using to create the lack of money, the doing without money, the aversion of money you're choosing? Everything that is, and not only the aversion of money, but if money is energy and you are energy, so the aversion of you are you choosing. Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys and beyonds. Raz is saying here, you're not who you think you are. So all the definitions that you have of you, all the definitions of you as a body, as a person in this time, space, whatever you want to call it, in this moment, in this variation of you, everywhere you think that that is the essence of you, will you destroy and uncreate all of that? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Truth, is this the only time you've been here, or have you been here loads of times before? Have you always been here as whatever gender you've chosen to show up in this lifetime? Or were you another gender or another type of body totally beforehand? So how many points of view do we have about defending our points of view? Even a simple thing like gender, which isn't so simple, I suppose, but we have so many points of view about, oh, men do this and women do that, and oh, must be a woman driver, oh, must be a man who left his socks thrown on the ground, or whatever the case is. All those are just points of view through which you cut off everything that you could receive from anyone and anything else. And same thing with this, you are not what you think you are. That quote unquote crazy phrase, as they call it in access consciousness, is not really so crazy. It's actually one of the wisest things that one could possibly say, and that is everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. What seems so solid and real may not be. Okay? What seems so for sure it's that may not be. And that's where Gary invites us many times to let go of thinking. Because when we let go of thinking, we're actually able to receive. We're able to see what else is available to us. When we let go of thinking, we can see what's actually there. There's a space before all those thoughts. There's a space of that possibility. It's that space of everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. So, does money really mean security? Or is that just a point of view that you've taken on, that you've bought from another as to how you create your life? Student, so what you're telling me is that if I think of money, I can create it? Raz, yes, not if you think it, but if you be it. Student, how do I become money? Raz, well, first of all, you must have the vision of your life. And you do that by I am creativity, or I be creativity. For those of you who haven't seen the first video yet, I've changed all the I ams to I be's after a conversation that I'd had with Gary. It's about an active choosing. It is a being, a choosing actively in your life, not a definition of I am this or I am that. So I be creativity. You are creativity as a vision. You are I be power as energy. You are I be awareness as knowing exactly that the world will be as you see it. And you are I be control, not in a vested interest in how you get there. And this is where a lot of us get really frustrated, because we think we're so powerful that we can micromanage the universe. Not exactly. And that's why things don't always show up. Change doesn't show up the way you think it does, because it just doesn't. But if you're willing to ask questions and you're willing to receive, no matter how it shows up, it's amazing what you can create and what can show up when you're willing to be that out of control everything can begin to show up in your life. And we'll go into that at some point soon too. And you are IB control, not in a vested interest in how you get there, but in the awareness that the universe will move the cogs to bring about your vision if you maintain your power and you maintain your awareness in alignment with what you do. Then, if you have those 4 elements in place, you can become IB money. And you can use these. You can say, I be power, I be awareness, I be control, I be creativity, I be money. And use them every morning and every night until you become money, until you become creativity, until you become awareness, until you become control, until you become power. And that is how you become money. Here he says, the I am of being it. Because it is that is how you create yourself now. You see, if you're creating yourself from the point of view of, I'm getting security by getting money, what is that? It is a time sequence, a futurity, something in the future, yes? Student, right, Raz. So you can never achieve it. You guys have seen the horses that are, generally pulling those carriages like Central Park, etc. They have that little like fishing pole with a carrot or something dangling in the front as a motivation in many cases. Well, that's the difference between this external future thing that stays unreachable. It's unrequited, like an unrequited love. It's always somewhere out there, but you never have it or be it because it's always in the future. It's always right there. It's dangled in front of you. And so that takes care of the futurity. You're willing to actually be that rather than, oh, one day my prince will come. You're willing to begin with yourself. Student, right, Raz, so you can never achieve it if it's a time sequence, a futurity. Student, do you always have to be in the present? Raz, yes. The I am or I be puts you always in the present. So what other point of view do you have about money? What it means for you? Student, well, security was my main because the other two would be home and future. But if I had security, then my home would be secure and my future would be secure. So it's really on, Raz, really? Is that really true? Student, no, it's not. I understand what you just brought me through as my first need for security. Raz, yes, good. Student, I understand the I ams or the IBs. Raz, yes. Anybody else have a point of view that they wish some clarity on? Student, happiness. Raz, so happiness, huh? Money buys happiness. Okay. So money buys happiness, eh? Student, I think so. Raz, really? Do you have money in your pocket? Student, not much. Raz, are you happy? Student, uh-huh. Raz, so money didn't buy you that, did it? Student, no. Raz, that's right. You create happiness. You create the joy in your life, not money. Money doesn't buy happiness, but if you have the point of view that money does buy happiness, if you do not have money, how can you have happiness? And the judgment that comes in after that is, I don't have enough money to be happy. And even when you get more, you still don't have enough money to be happy. You get the point? How do you feel about it? Student, well, I'm always happy even though I don't have money, but knowing that I have someone to pay on Thursday, knowing that I don't have any money tends to put me in a worse mood. Raz, there we go. Now we're getting into it. Time. How do you create money? Student, with a job, by working. Raz, that's an interesting point of view. You mean you can only receive by working? Student, well, that's what I've experienced. Raz, so which point of view came first? The idea that you had to work to get money, or the experience of it? Student, the idea. Raz, right. You have created it, have you not? Student, yes. Raz, so you are responsible for it. You created your world exactly as your thought pattern is. Throw your brains away. They get into the way of you. You think. You do not grow rich, and that's a comment about, geez, I forgot who wrote that. I think Napoleon Hill or something, Think and Grow Rich. So he's saying, you think, you do not grow rich, you grow limited. You get through that thought process in the way, and then you are diminished. You have limited yourself on what you're going to achieve and what you're going to get. You've always been able to create happiness, have you not? So what he's saying there is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The idea that something has to be hard, that it can only come one way, that you have to look for someone else to be able to give it to you, that you have to work hard for it, that it's blood, sweat, and tears. What came first? The idea of it, buying someone's point of view of it, defending it and making that so true and real, or that quote-unquote proof that shows up, the as we call it in access speak, the evidentiary contrivances, how we somehow manage to find all the evidence to support our point of view. So do we have a point of view that all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory? Do we have a point of view that everything is, you know, pain and suffering and gory, and that life is going to be tough and life is just difficult and you have to work hard for your money, like that Donna Summer song, she works hard for the money? That's an implant. And if that, you know, keeps repeating through your world, or if that's the point of view from which you create your life, that's not really true of you. That's just a point of view. So what comes first, the point of view or your experience of it? Interesting, isn't it? And when did you decide on that point of view? When did you buy that point of view that you're defending so strongly as true and real? Most likely when you were a kid and you saw how other people were functioning. So everywhere you've created your future not so possibilities based on other people's misconceptions of their own potency and capacities, will you destroy and uncreate all of that times a godzillion? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pot, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Amazing, isn't it? You've always been able to create happiness, have you not? Student, yes. Raz, it is only the bills that get in the way, yes? Student, yes. Raz, because what you do is you think. You have a vision of money, of what your life will be like, yes? Student, yes. Raz, so get a vision of that now. How does it feel? Is it light or is it heavy? Student, light. Raz, and when you're in this lightness, do you know that you will pay everything that you owe? Student, will you say that again? Raz, in this lightness, the space of knowing what your future, financial future, or your joy with money, the possibilities that you can have with money are. Okay, so in this lightness, do you know as awareness that you will always pay everything that you owe? Student, yes. Raz, you know it? You have absolute awareness and certainty of it? Student, that I have to pay everybody I owe. Notice that? That little twist? Raz, no, not that you have to, but that you will. Student, yeah, I think I will. Raz, oh, interesting point of view. I think I will. If you're thinking that you will pay it, do you have a desire to pay it, or do you resist it? Student, I resist it. Raz, yes, you resist it. You resist paying. So what is the purpose of resisting? Student, I couldn't tell you. Raz, what would be the underlying point of view of not desiring to pay? If you had enough money, would you pay the bill? Student, yes. Raz, so what is your underlying point of view that is unexpressed? Student, that I'm worried about money, that I don't want to pay. Raz, that you will not have enough? Yes? Student, yes. Raz, it, and this is extremely important. That's why I put a star next to my page. It is the unexpressed point of view. It is what you cannot look at that gets you in trouble, because that is a place that you've created from the point of view that there's not enough at all. Okay, pause right there. Oh, wait a second, Angela, I'm going to look at what you wrote in the chat. Thought I had a chat. One sec. Oh, here we go. Alguien dice, si resiste el dinero sería como tener universo. Exactamente. Sí, en el momento que estás en alineación y en acuerdo, when you're aligning and agreeing with something, and that's from the first video, that's from part 1 we went through in great detail. How do you create a reality? I'm going to use my power cord for the computer here. In order to hold up, to maintain a point of view, it takes aligning and agreeing, aligning or agreeing, or resisting and reacting to something that creates this point of view, this concept that it takes at least 2 people to align and agree or resist and react with something to make a quote-unquote reality. Hence, when you get sent to an insane asylum, or when you get married, or when you get divorced, or whatever, there are always 2 witnesses to sign everything. Did you get the 2 that create reality with you? But yes, it is a totally conflictual universe when you're, you know, on the one hand, you're aligning and agreeing to all these different points of view about money has to be hard, money has to come only through work, you have to work certain hours, if you don't put in the time then you don't get paid. There are so many, that's my coffee, thank you. There are so many points of view that we literally defend that don't have anything to do with us. How do you pick up that it doesn't have anything to do with you? If it is not light and airy and fluffy, it's not yours. If you think of something that you're generally saying, or even dancing to that Donna Summer song, that she works hard for the money. If there's anything like that, that puts this little in your world, it is not true for you. And if it's not true for you, you're wasting so much energy trying to defend exactly that. And so what else is possible if you'd be willing to look at, use that, I know this is not quite like, it's not an access word, because generally we let go of thoughts, feelings, emotions in access, because those are lower harmonics of perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving. And anybody who wants to delve into more of that, they're invited to go to a foundation class. Luisa and I are going to be facilitating at, I think it is April 22nd to 28th for 4 hours a day, every day. We're going to be getting together and going through the tools that can contribute to having a lot more ease in your life. And so you're welcome to join us for that, or buy a global foundation, or look to see which other facilitators are offering foundation classes online. But the thing is, those are lower harmonics of who you are thinking and feeling, and are not who you be. This is beyond the scope of this particular get together. But I wanted you to recognize that yes, there's the word feeling, the way we think of it, and there's also kind of using your body, your awareness, your senses, the senses of your body, as your body feels, right? Being sense, but the body feels, and you can use those feelings rather than buying into them. You can perceive if you're like in a clunky kind of not space, contraction in your world, then it's showing you you're not excited about whatever that idea is, or there's something there that's not necessarily true for you. Your body is your buddy. It is giving you information about everything around you. If you have a point of view that work is slavery, and that the only way that, you know, money can come to you is through the sweat of your brow, then it's going to be very hard to make money. And you can work very, very hard. You could be a garbage collector. You could clean toilets. You could do all sorts of things. You're not going to necessarily come out a rich man or a wealthy person through that, because you have a point of view that it has to be difficult. What if it doesn't? What else would be available to you? And that's where looking at the points of view and looking at like writing down the questions that we wrote down. And like I said, I did mine on my phone. When you look down at your answers, you're looking at what is my underlying assumption here. That underlying assumption is running your life. Those fixed points of view are exactly where you're operating from. And most of the time, they're not cognitive, they're not clear to you. And only when you actually pause and ask a question can it begin to pop up and come up. And the more you allow these things to come up, not to judge them, but to see where you're functioning from, you have the ability to change it. So it is the unexpressed point of view. It is what you cannot look at that gets you in trouble, because that's a place that you've created from the point of view that there's not enough at all. And if there's not enough, well, guess what? There's never going to be enough. No matter how much this person is going to do, he's operating from a point of view that there's not going to be enough. And there will never be enough. And all that is just a lie. It's not the truth of what's possible. Right? So you've created that reality as that there is not enough. Student, yes. Raz, is this a place you like to function from? Student, I don't understand what you're saying. Raz, do you like to function from not enough? Student, yeah. Raz, so what is the value in choosing not enough? Student, there isn't any. Raz, there must be some value or you would not make that choice. Student, don't we all have that fear? Raz, yes, you all have the fear that there will not be enough, and you all function from the certainty that there will not be enough, which is why you're looking for security and why you're looking for happiness and why you're looking for homes and why you're looking for future, when in reality, you have created every future you ever had. Every past, every present, and every future is created by you. And you've done an impeccable job of creating it exactly as you think it. So if you're experiencing it now, you've asked for it before. Maybe not cognitively, maybe not logically, right? But somehow you've brought it about with the points of view that you have about money, about how it has to come, about where it has to come from, etc. Your point of view creates your reality. So if you're experiencing it now, somewhere in that deep, dark closet, there's a point of view that you've held on to so tightly and have guarded, and it's like your precious point of view, that from that, even though it was not a cognitive point of view, from that you've created your life exactly as it is right now. So knowing that, and knowing that you've created it, is one of the greatest freedoms in the world, because you can also uncreate it. If you've chosen that, awesome. Look at what grand and glorious creators we are, right? Fantastic. So what would we prefer to create? What is it that we truly like to create? And by looking at, well, what has the value of this point of view been? Now, there are people who do a fair bit of drugs or drinking, etc. And their value for that is that it helped them cope with whatever situation, whatever awareness that may have been uncomfortable. They might not have had other tools. And so rather than judging themselves for taking those drugs or drinking those drinks or whatever the case is, it is the tool that they had at that time. And it's not about beating themselves up. It's about recognizing that now they have choice. And so in this money conversation, rather than beating the fuck out of yourself with, oh my God, I can't believe I created all this shit, then you just go, wow, isn't that interesting that that was my point of view? Because you wouldn't be experiencing it right now if you didn't believe it, if you didn't have it there as a point of view from which you were creating everything. Your point of view creates your reality. And I'm going to read that little section again. You all have the fear, and a fear is a distractor implant. Okay, it isn't real. More information in, there's a book about distractor implants, Living Beyond Distraction, I think it's called. I'll put a link beneath this. And it's fantastic. Fear is just one of the many distractor implants. Destroy and uncreate. What's underneath that fear? If you perceive that, first of all, is it fear or is it excitement? And if you perceive that it is fear for you, okay, well, I destroy and uncreate anything that's holding it in place, anything that's beneath it, anything that's maintaining it, I'm letting it go. And you recognize it. All it takes with distractor implants is to recognize that they're there and to choose something different. You don't have to be victim to them, and you don't have to stay on the treadmill of that distraction, whatever it is. So you all have the fear that there will not be enough. And you all function from the certainty that there will not be enough, which is why you're looking for security, and why you're looking for happiness, and why you're looking for homes, and why you're looking for the future. When in reality, you have created every future you ever had. Every past, every present, and every future is created by you. And you have done an impeccable job of creating it exactly as you think. You think there's not enough? Well, then what are you creating? Student, not enough. Raz, exactly so. There's not going to be enough. Now, congratulate yourselves on such a good job. You've done an impeccably wonderful job of creating not enough. Congratulations. You are very good. You are great and glorious creators. Creating nothing, said the student. Raz, oh, now you've created something. You have created debt, have you not? Student, all right, this is right. Raz, you've been very good at creating debt. You've been very good at creating not enough. You've been very good at creating sufficient to feed yourselves and clothe yourself, yes? So you've done an excellent job of all that part of create. So what point of view is it that you are not creating from? No limitation. No limitation. Student, doesn't that take a lot of practice? Raz, no, it takes no practice. Student, really? Do we just do it constantly? Raz, yes. Modern Gary answer would be it's choice. Your choice creates. But Raz is saying, yes, all you have to do is be, I-B, creativity, the vision of your life. Do you have a vision of what you'd like? And this isn't a vision like a visual thing, but do you know what you'd like your life to be like? Do you allow yourself to even, entertain the possibility that you can have a life with ease, with elegance, with joy, with possibilities? What if you begin to add some of that vision of possibilities to your life? What would you like your life to be like? What would it be if you could create it any way you choose? Would you be a millionaire or would you be a pauper? Student, millionaire. Raz, how do you know that it's better to be a millionaire than a pauper? If you're a millionaire, somebody might come along and steal all your money. If you're a pauper, nobody would come and steal your money. So you would wish to be a millionaire. For what purpose? Why would you wish to be a millionaire? What value is there in being a millionaire? Seems like a good idea, but it only seems like a good idea, right? Student, yeah, it's a good idea. Raz, okay, it's a good idea. Okay, all right, so let us have some fun here. Close your eyes. And you guys are welcome to close your eyes. I don't think anybody's driving and watching this, so close your eyes. Get a vision of $100 bill in your hand, or whatever is the denomination in your neck of the woods, euros, yens, quetzales, whatever. Now tear it up into little pieces and throw it away. That $100 bill. You got it? Ooh, that hurt. Class laughs. Raz, get a vision of $1,000. Okay? Now tear those up in little tiny pieces and throw that away. That hurt more, didn't it? Student, yes. Now, let's take $10,000, burn it up, tear it up into pieces and throw it in the fireplace. Okay? Interesting, it was not as hard to throw $10,000 in the fireplace, was it? All right, now throw $100,000 into the fireplace. Now throw $1 million into the fireplace. Now throw $10 million into the fireplace. Now be $10 million. Now, what is the difference between $10 million in the fireplace and being $10 million? Student, it feels much better. Raz, good. So how come you always throw all your money in the fireplace? Class laughs. You're always throwing your money away and you're always spending it as a way to try, keyword, try to be happy, as a way to try, keyword, and survive. You do not allow yourself to create so much that you feel you are money, that you feel you're willing to be money. The willingness, that choosing, okay? Willing is not just, it's that active rather than reactive way of living. You're willing to have this. You are saying yes to having this in your life. The willingness to be money is to be $1 million or to be $10 million. To be it, it's only energy. It has no real significance unless you make it so. If you make it significant, you make it heavy. If it is significant, it becomes a solidity, and then you have trapped yourself, okay? Anything you make significant, anything you make solid and real, anything you hold on to and desperately defend, you trap, you enclose it. You don't allow it that fluidity of possibility and movement. So all the projection and expectation you have of yourself or of money that keeps you separating, judging, rejecting you and money and the possibilities that you can have together, possibly even have fun, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, PUD and POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Justo ahora lo que está abundando es el miedo, ¿ya? A lo que el futuro va a traer después del coronavirus. Interesante punto de vista. Yeah, that's right. Right now, what's abundant? Actually, no, that's not true, Angela. It is not the only abundant thing. One of the abundant perspectives now in this world, right, is the fear that's driving everyone with the coronavirus and all of that. That's one perspective. Sure, there are a hell of a lot of people holding up that reality, right? Making it solid and real and dense and intense. But it is not the only point of view. If you look right out there, I don't know if you can see, but I'm on a barranco. There is an abundance of trees and plants and birds of all sorts and butterflies and snakes, because sometimes we even get those here, bees and all sorts of things. There's an abundance and there's plenty around everywhere. Look at some of the videos of, I know my son sent me a video from Eilat in Israel where the ibexes, which are these animals that are wild animals, you don't generally see them, with these huge horns unless you go into the desert, right? They're walking around the streets of the southernmost city in Israel. If you look at, pictures of San Francisco, and there's wolves roaming the streets, there's abundance everywhere. If people would disappear off this planet, it wouldn't take all that long for everything to grow through. Highways to fall apart, buildings to come apart, and for trees and flowers and plants and grasses and weeds and everything to cover everywhere. Antarctica supposedly was, I just read the headline, but I thought that was rather interesting, that Antarctica was a forest prior to it kind of shifting down and becoming barren. I know that the northern part of Africa, when the Romans were in the area, those were massive forests, like Morocco and all those things there in the north of Africa. They were not barren, sandy dunes. Those were forested areas that, with the intervention of mankind, got more desolate and destroyed. Everything around us is abundant. If we're willing to be the joy and the choice and the possibility of looking at what else is abundant here. You could buy the point of view about the fear, because there's a lot of it out there. It's very palpable and we can feel it. And yes, interesting point of view, but this is not the only one. What else is abundantly out there that you could look out and see? You could look out and see the clouds. You could look out and see the stars. You could look out and see the grasses. You could look out and see that there are loads of other possibilities out there in the world, but it takes you looking for them to be able to find them, because the world will always back up your point of view. Okay. Cool. You are welcome. You're welcome, Santa Maria. Let's see, where were we? Okay. Willingness to be money is to be $1 million or to be $10 million. Willingness to have things actualize in your life. I know there's some people who play with, oh, I'm going to ask for a parking space. Well, you can ask for anything. Why settle for just a parking space? Or why settle for, have the parking space and what else can show up? Have someone invite you out for coffee, though. Now you can't really invite them for coffee, but send you a globe or whatever. And what else is possible, right? The difference is just your choice. You could settle for anything, or you could be that, insatiable dreamer who always knows that there's more abundance and more possibilities, and all you have to do is actually ask. And if you're not aware how to be that energy, I highly recommend a session with my daughter. She's insatiable. So maybe connect to being your inner child. I'm sure when you were a kid, there was many possibilities, dreams, ideas that you had desired, and somewhere in growing up, you shut those down. So it is just a choice to be it. It is only energy. It has no real significance until you make it so. If you make something significant, you make it heavy. It is significant, it becomes a solidity, and then you've trapped yourself. The box of your world is the parameters by which you create your limitation. Just because you have a bigger box does not mean that it is less of a box. It is still a box. You get the point? Student, yes. Raz, you like the point? Student, yes. Raz, good. Well, it's still difficult, said the student. Raz, now that's an interesting point of view. It is difficult to be money, hey? Student, yes. Raz, now look at that point of view. What are you creating with the point of view that it is difficult to be money? Student, I know, I'm limiting stuff. Raz, yes, you are making it difficult, solid, and real. Boy, did you do a good job on that. Congratulations. You are a grand and glorious creator. Student, those two magic words, I am or I be. Raz, I be money, I be power, I be creativity, I be control, I be awareness. And I made a graphic to make that a little bit easier. If anybody would like to print that off, it's in the group, and you're welcome to print it off, post it anywhere you like, stick it on your forehead, put it on, I don't know, where you brush your teeth. And maybe as you do that, there's I be power, I be money, I be creativity, I be awareness, I be joy, and just get into the space that you be when you repeat those words. I be money, I be power, I be creativity, I be control, I be awareness. All right, anybody else have a point of view that they would like explained here? Student, you can make it without working for it. Raz, you can make it without working for it. Now, there are two very interesting limitations. First of all, how do you make money? Do you have a printing press in your backyard? Student, no. Raz, and without working for it. What is work to you? Now, I'm just going to say something, and I had said this last year. I love sometimes they're really funny signs in sign language. And the sign for work is literally this in American Sign Language, work. If this is work, what does this bring up to mind for you? To me, it's like I'm being dragged off. I'm bound hand and foot to whatever that is. It is not a choice, it's an obligation. Interesting points of view, huh? So what is work to you? And everything that brings up in your world and everything this brought up or let down in your world, we destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, POD, POC, shorts, boys and beyonds. Student, a paycheck. Raz, work is a paycheck? Student, yes. Raz, so you sit at home and you collect one of those. Student, no, I go to work. Raz, no, work for you is something that you hate to do. Feel the word work. Feel it. How does it feel? Does it feel light and airy? Student, no. Raz, feels like shit, eh? Work. It is work to look into your crystal ball. Student, no. Raz, well, no wonder you don't make any money. You do not see what you're doing as work, do you? Student, I don't know what I'm really doing yet. Raz, interesting point of view. How can you be I am awareness or I be awareness and not know what you're doing? What is the underlying assumption here? The underlying point of view from which you're functioning. Is it I am afraid? Student, no, I don't understand. Raz, you don't understand what? If you doubt your ability, you cannot charge. Yes? Student, it is not that I doubt it. It's that I don't understand it. I don't know what I'm seeing. Raz, good. So turn loose of your mind. Connect with your guides and let the ball guide you. You're not trying to think it through and figure it out from your point of view of thought. You are not a thinking machine, you are a psychic. A psychic does not do anything but be there for the images to come and to turn loose of their mind and turn loose of their mouth and let it flow. Can you do that? Student, yeah, I do that. Raz, and you do it very well when you let it happen. It is only when you put your mind into the equation that you create disability. The unfortunate part for you is that you do not trust what you know. You do not recognize that you, as the unlimited being that you are, have access to all the knowledge in the universe, and that you are but a pipeline for the awakening of cosmic consciousness. The reality is that you live in fear. The fear of success, the fear of your power, and the fear of your ability. And for each of you, underneath your fear is anger, intense anger and rage. And who are you outraged at? Yourself. You are very angry at yourself for picking and choosing to be the limited beings that you are. Not to not walk in the tallness of the God force that you are, but to function from the limited size, oopsie, thank you, from the limited size of your body as though it is a shell of existence. That one just struck me closer to home than any other time I've read it. That's fascinating. Expand yourself out and move away from it by being not afraid. and not in anger, but in the great and glorious wonder of your ability to create. Creativity is vision. Do you have visions? Student, yes. Raz, knowing as awareness. Knowing is a certainty that you are connected to the power of you. Do you have that? And if you want more about the power, control, creativity, and awareness, that's part of chapter 1, if you hadn't watched that video or read the chapter yet. So knowing as awareness, knowing is the certainty, that confidence, that trust in you, that you are connected to the power of you. Do you have that? Student, yes. And control, are you willing to let the universe have your back? Are you willing to turn it over to the cosmic forces? Student, if I learn how, Raz, you don't have to learn how. You have to be I am controller. I be control. That which you see outside of you, this is so key, that which you see outside of you, you cannot have. It's like that carrot that's dangling in front of the horse. It's that unrequited love. That which you see outside of you, you cannot have. Learning how is a way in which you create a debilitation and a distance, and you put into your computation of achievement the value of time as though it exists. You know everything already now. You know everything that will be in the future. That's your awareness, dudes. And you know everything that has been in the past right now. There is no time but that which you create. If you would move yourself, you must move yourself from the point of view of I am control, in the surrendering of the need to figure out how to get from point A to point B, which is your if I learn, then I can have. That is going from point A to point B. You're trying to control the process and the destiny of self from diminishment. You cannot achieve it from there. You understand? So I'm going to go back to that because there's a lot in there. So the first thing that's there is that fear, that already the debilitation, that shrinking down of who you are in comparison to what you could be creating, etc. So when you are creating a disability, that's a lie. It's not the truth of you. The truth of you is that you're an infinite being who's magnificent and glorious and is already all energy and all power and all control and all creativity and just everything, right? Whenever we're making ourselves any smaller, whenever we're diminishing ourselves in any way, shape, or form, or creating a disability or handicap or an obstacle, those are lies. When you perceive those things, you don't feel expansive and generative and happy. And if you use your body as a compass, as a guide, as your GPS, you don't perceive that with your body. You don't have that expansion. You have that diminishment. That's a lie. You cannot, no matter how hard you try, make that truth a lie. You can only acknowledge it, see it, recognize it, and go, oh, wow, that's interesting. I'm letting it go. Now what can I choose? Okay, so there's no way that you can create a change in a lie. You can only let it go. And that's why with distractor implants, because they are lies, they are not what's true for us. We look to see what's underneath there. What are those buttons that those people who are trying to control us are using? You know, with those distractor implants, anger, rage, fury, hate, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into all of that in this class, in this reading, not really a class, but whenever we look to see what's underneath that, we can recognize, okay, that's a lie, that's not true for me. Now what can I choose? And it's the same thing here. Anytime we are going in diminishment, it's not the truth of us. It's not energy, it's not space, it's not consciousness, it's not who we really and truly be. So you don't have to learn how. You have to learn to be I be control. Okay? Being in control does not mean controlling or micromanaging. It means knowing that it's going to work out. Don't know how, don't care how, no me importa. You know, I'm willing to have it. Universe, figure it out. Okay? It's not your job to figure out the how. It is your job to know what it is that you would like to do, and whatever shows up that you have to do, be willing to do and be whatever it takes to have and be everything that you would like without having to figure out any hows. Learning how is the way you create debilitation, diminishment, disability, handicapping, and you put that into the computation of achievement, the value of time as though it really exists. Oh, when I invest in myself and I take all these 10 million classes and I do all this stuff and only then will I be able to have, well, what if you can have it now? What if you can be it now? What if one day my prince will come? It's now. And you start with whatever you got, you. You know everything that will be in the future, and you know everything that's been in the past right now. There's no time but that which you create. If you would move yourself, you must move yourself from the point of view of I be control, in surrendering the need to figure out how to get from point A to point B, which is if I learn in this person's underlying point of view. There was going from point A to point B. You're trying to control the process. And the thing is, going from point A to point B, we may think that it's a straight line, but it may be kind of all over the place. How do you know? And what other adventures and other possibilities and other amazing things could show up when you're off that track that you've controlled and decided that has to be only that way? You are trying to control the process and the destiny of self from diminishment. You cannot achieve it from there. You understand? Student, yes. So, Raz, are you willing to look at your anger? Student, yes. Raz, so, look at it. How does it feel? Student, wrong. Raz, and where do you feel it? In what part of your body? In my chest. So take it now. Remember what we did in chapter 1. Take it now and push it. Just invite it to move out so that you can look at it. Okay? Put it in front of you. Put it out 3 feet in front of you from your chest. Push it out. Good. How does it feel now? Heavy or light? Student, it doesn't feel very heavy now. You've put that diminishment, that lie, that thing that's not necessarily true for you, and you've moved it outside. Raz, but it is 3 feet away from you, yes. Now, that is your anger. Is it real? Student, yes. It is, says Raz. Interesting point of view. It is only an interesting point of view. It is not a reality. You have created it. In other words, it's a creation, it's an invention, it's something that you're holding on to. You are the creator of all your emotions. You are the creator of all of your life. You are the creator of everything that occurs for you. You create. And if you must put time in the computation, then put time in 10-second increments. Okay? And that is one of the 10 commandments that we use. Also, no form, no structure, no significance, and everything's an interesting point of view. It's absolutely fabulous book as well. The 10 Keys to Total Freedom, also based on a telecall, if you haven't read that. So at least put your time in 10-second increments. That way you can choose and choose and choose and choose and choose. All right, we're going to give you a choice here. You have 10 seconds to live the rest of your life, or you're going to be eaten by a tiger. What do you choose? Student, no reply. Raz, all right, your time is up. Your life is over. You have 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? To be a seer or not? You didn't choose. Your life is over. You have 10 seconds to live the rest of your life. What do you choose? Student, to be. Raz, yes, to be, but choose something. As you choose, so do you create your life. Your choice creates. Living is choosing. Acting is choosing. It's active. It is not waiting for anything to happen to you. It is choosing what it is that you'd like to create in any moment. As you choose, so do you create your life. So you choose to be the psychic that you are. Choose to be the reader of the crystal ball in 10-second increments. You have to look into your ball now, and you look into it and you get a picture in these 10 seconds. Can you answer what it is? Student, yes. Raz, right. You can. Now that lifetime is over. You have 10 seconds of life. What are you going to choose? The picture and the ball and the talking, or the no choice? Because no choice is also a choice. Student, the picture and the ball. Raz, good. So choose it. Choose it each and every time. Every 10 seconds, you choose anew. Choose anew and get yourself going. You create your life in 10-second increments. If you create it in anything other than 10-second increments, you are creating from an expectation of the future, which never arrives, or from the or from the debilitation of the past, based on your experience, with the idea that it is going to create something new when you maintain the same point of view. It's like trying to drive your car forward on a highway 55, 60 miles an hour or more, right? While doing nothing but looking at your rear view mirror. How far are you going to get, and how happy are you going to be when you get to wherever it is that's going to go boom? Right? Not so much, right? So that's what happens when you are living your life in anything other than 10-second increments. You're either living with projections and expectations and worries and all of that about what could happen, which is most likely not going to happen, or you're basing on, well, this happened before, therefore it must repeat again. Says who? Says who? All we have to do is choose now. Choose, 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 choose. And as you're choosing, you are creating your life, and your life unfolds before you, right? So you create your life in 10-second increments. If you create it in anything other than 10-second increments, you are creating from expectation of the future, which never arrives, or from the debilitation of the past, based on your experience, with the idea that it's going to create something new when you maintain the same point of view. Any wonder that your life still shows up the same? I think there was a quote by Einstein that says the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Just saying. You are choosing nothing new, are you? Moment by moment you choose. I don't have enough. I don't want to work. I don't have enough. I don't want to work. Now we're going to recommend some words for you to eliminate from your vocabulary. There are 5 words that you should eliminate from your vocabulary. 1, the word want. Want has 27 definitions, which means to lack. You have thousands of years of the English language in which the word want means to lack. And you've had more lifetimes of speaking English than just this one. And in this lifetime, how many years have you used the word want as though you were creating desire? In truth, what have you created? Want, lack. You have created lack. So you are a great and glorious creator. Congratulate yourself. I'll say there's, I think it's in Shakespeare or something, where he says, waste not, or maybe it's just an old adage, waste not, want not. When you don't waste, you don't lack. Right? When you want something, you want someone, or you want money, or you want anything, it's very interesting that the wanting leaves you with this unrequited love kind of an energy, that chasing the carrot that's attached to the stick that's on your back, but it's just out of reach. And no matter what you do, and no matter how hard you run, it's still always there, just out of reach. And do what you can, there's still that wanting, because you're not having it. you're wanting it. And that's the difference. Pay attention, be aware of what it is that you're saying, because your words create a lot of what your life is. Your words are based on your points of view. So if your point of view is, oh, I want money, what if you didn't want money? I don't want money. I don't want money. I don't want money. Notice if there's any resistance coming up in your world. I don't want money. 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 Notice how much lighter you become with that, or maybe it's just my case. But you get more of this lightness because that's more of the truth of you. You do not want, you do not lack, you do not need anything. You don't want for money. You may choose to have money. That's very different from lacking of it. And when you say, I don't want money, you are not lacking of money. And it is the truth of you. So when you speak, when you are creating your future with your words, with your points of view, be aware of that. The word want means to lack. 2, the word need. What is need, student? Lack. Raz, it is the debilitation of knowing that you cannot have. You cannot have anything if you need. And need will always be followed by greed, which will be trying to get. Dane, in those 14-day videos, which again, I will post the link on the bottom, I spoke about him earlier. He spoke about need and neediness as well. He mentioned it regarding India and having people who are just begging with this demand of you have, therefore you must be my source. And it is like the black hole of, that's the way a person functions. They're always going to make something or someone else the source for their universe. And if they need, they're going to be this black hole of always needing more and more and more. And that's where it's always leading to greed, as you're always trying to get. 3, we come to the word try. As Yoda says, do or do not. There is no try. Try is never achieving. Try is making no choice. Try to stand up if you're sitting down. Try to stand up. Did you do it? Did you stand up? Then you're not trying. You actually stood up. That's a totally different thing. Trying is this in between kind of thing. It is making no choice. Try is doing nothing. 4, and we have why. And why, he's speaking about the letter Y. Y. The letter Y is the fork in the road. Whichever way you go from either side, you're going around in a circle. Y is always the fork in the road, and you always come back to the beginning. Student, I don't see that. Raz, just listen to a 2-year-old sometime and you will understand it. Student laughs, you never get an answer. Yeah, Raz. 5, the word but. When you say but, you counter your first statement. I would like to go, but I can't afford it. All right. See, the word but, for me, the only way to think of it, because it counters so much and it is a word that we use a lot, is the butt that you sit on. You know, this butt. And you can think, you can train yourself out of butting every time and look to see how many times you use but in your conversations. Oh, that looks like such a wonderful class, but oh, it's yeah, oh no, that's just, it costs so much, so no, I can't take it. Did you ask, what will my life be like if I choose this? What will the world be like if I choose this in the next 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years? Do you perceive the lightness? What's true will always make you feel lighter, and what's a lie for you will always make you feel contracted and small. If you don't choose it, what's your life going to be like? If you do choose it, what's your life going to be like? It's not the cognition, the no choice universe of, oh no, I can't afford it. It's, if I choose this, what is this going to create? And it may not be that particular class or that particular experience that you choose, but you have this knowing, and this knowing, this trust in you, and this trust in the universe, the control of, yeah, I could enjoy this, you know, I'll have this works for me. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know where, but this works for me. And you release that knowing, that trust, that choice out in the universe, and you never know how it shows up, and it may take years, but it shows up at some point in time when you have that trust and the confidence in you, not butting out of your way. So every time you use the word but, stand up and touch your ass, wherever you are. When we used to do this book in Starbucks and anyone mentioned butts, we'd all get up and start touching our butts. And yes, people would look at us strangely. But that was part of the, we're going to just break this. You know, this does not work anymore. We're not going to live as, oh yeah, I'd like to, but let me give you all my reasons and justifications, which are actually, no, I'd really not like to have this. So whenever you say but, you are countering whatever that first statement was. I would like to go, but I can't afford it. All right? Do not be need. I need is saying I do not have. I want is saying I lack. I try is saying I don't do. But you better pat yourself on the fanny, eh? Okay, next question, which we will be tackling tomorrow at the same time. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anything? Yes, no, maybe? I think my Facebook Live is no longer live because I don't see anything there. Anybody here? No? Okay, cool. No questions. Cool. I appreciate your being here, reading this for me, and if it's a contribution for you as well, then hey, why not? If there is anyone that you know who would like to enjoy this book as well or change some points of view, thank you so much. If you would forward this to them, might be a estas alturas yo quedo interesantemente con sueño. Yeah, you know, well, sueño could be from so many different things. Well, one of the things to look at is, what am I making so true and real for me, and how much am I staying in my head? And that's one of the things that I love about expanding. The truth of you is expanded. So let's lower barriers. Let's lower all the thinking that we've been doing, all the points of views, all the everything that's come up in the readings. Okay? Everything that's left up in our worlds, let's lower it, lower it, lower it, lower it. This book is intense. This book is actually the very first foundation that ever took place in Access, whether it was called foundation or not. The material that's channeled through Raz here was the foundation for foundation. And it is the invitation to be all of you. And it's something that would be really, really awesome if most people would be invited to be everything that they be from the time that they're little, and not told, you should know better, you should be more grown up by now, you should know that's not how things work on this planet. So all the lies that you've been defending and living from and working with and using as the underlying foundation stones of your world, would you be willing to let them go, please? They can just think. You don't require them anymore. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds. There is a lot of information there. This book is so much more than just the words that are in it. There is a lot of energy in the spaces even between the words. Also, the languaging is a little bit archaic in some ways, but it's inviting you to be you if you're willing to be it. And how much, if there's abundance of everything, there's abundance of energy too. And in chapter 1, remember we pulled in energy from the front of us. Keep those barriers down so that the energy can actually flow in. And at the same time as we pulled energy from in front of us, pull energy from the back of you at the same time. Pull energy from beneath you, up your body and up and out the top of your head. Pull energy from everywhere in the universe. Pull down into your head, in through your body, and out, down your feet into this amazingly delightful planet we live on, and through it. There is no end point for energy, so let's keep pulling in all those directions, and also pull energy through the sides of us, the right side, the left side. We keep pulling even more. Keep pulling even more. Keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling, keep pulling. In all the directions, just keep pulling all those flows everywhere. How's it get even better? Anybody else feeling a little more energized? I do. There is no lack of energy. So even when you have sueño, that sueño may not be yours. It may be someone else's. And you can just go, wow. First of all, if you'd like to, be with that sueño, you can take a nap, sure. Or you can ask, whose is this? Thank you for this information, body. You can also pull energy and just go, wow. I could sprinkle some of the sueño out to everyone else by just pulling it through me just for fun. So how does it get even better? I look forward to meeting with you guys tomorrow, also at 11 a.m. Central Time. We'll begin chapter 3. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
My pleasure.